Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at energy fields. It is time for another update, and today we will be exploring the possibility of having a bottom already formed in this area, and if we are ready to move directly to new highs, but also the resistance levels that we need to watch out for and the possibilities of still retracing lower. Now before we get there, I want to go quickly through the larger time frame for any of you who might be new. And here we are still exploring the possibility of this 1-2 setup having unfolded, and now we could be looking for a larger wave 3. Now, as I mentioned in the previous videos, an ideal target for the wave 3 would be overall around the $130 level area. But we need to also keep in mind that based on the structure that has been developing in this area, we need to be very much aware that there is a significant risk that this could turn into an ABC pattern to the upside, in which case we may see a much deeper retracement than if we were to form a third wave directly itself, or even if we were to form an additional 1-2 setup. Now, in either case, in both scenarios right now, in both the scenario of forming a larger wave 3 and the scenario of forming only a wave C in this area, we are looking to form an impulse, and we would we would need to actually see a 5-wave structure to the upside. And in that case, what we were tracking mainly was the idea of an impulse where we had a 1-2 setup here, a larger third wave that could have topped. Yeah, there is a good chance it may have topped, but I'm still exploring the possibility to push higher, and then we would be looking for a fourth and a fifth to complete our 5-wave structure. Now, if this is to complete within below the ideal target for a wave 3, which I just mentioned earlier, we would likely have to consider this even in a bullish scenario, a wave 1 itself, and we may still see somewhat of a deep correction, in that case in a follow-up wave 2. But yeah, if it were to be a wave C, we could see quite a very deep retracement, possibly even below the previous bottom that we have formed here since we actually started this movement to the upside. Yeah, there is no limit to breaking that bottom for the case where we would be tracking a larger ABC pattern. Now, in the shorter time frame, as I was mentioning, we are ideally tracking an impulse. Now, that would be nice to actually develop an impulse in this area. It would be easier to track, especially the follow-up fifth wave to the upside. But we have to keep in mind this movement itself could also be a diagonal structure. I prefer the impulse. I find it more probable that it is the impulse, and in that case we would be looking here at a 1-2, and inside this wave 3 I look at a 1-2, 3, 4th and the 5th to have developed in this area. And actually I am considering a possible extension here within this wave 5, where in the previous videos I have been providing you a couple of scenarios that would basically be opposite, where in the blue interpretation we would track a 1-2, 3, 4, 5 pattern complete, third wave complete in green, and we would be looking for the larger correction in wave 4 to reach the area of support between the $17.6 level all the way down to the $10.7 level. Whereas in the white scenario, which honestly is my preferred interpretation at the moment and will continue to be as long as we hold above the 61.8% retracement, but in the white interpretation, I'm looking for a 1-2, and instead of having the third, fourth, and the fifth complete within this movement to the upside, I'm considering this an ABC pattern within the larger wave 3. Now, in both scenarios, I am tracking an ending diagonal, but in the white scenario, I'm tracking the wave 3 being all the way up here, and then we would be looking for a fourth and a fifth wave to still unfold. Now, since this wave 5, since this pattern is an ending diagonal, also within the wave 5 I am expecting to form an ABC structure, and it doesn't even need to push too high. Yeah, it is towards the end of a larger third wave. Basically, it would be the fifth wave of a larger fifth wave, and it isn't uncommon that we make only marginally higher highs. Sometimes we even get truncations. Yeah, it is a possibility that we don't even form a new high within this fifth wave to the upside. But I would still like to see a mostly a clear pattern that would allow this to be at least towards the top of this local wave 3 that we have here in white. Now, even if it is possible, my preferred interpretation would still be to track continuation to the upside to new all-time highs, or at least new highs in this area within this fifth wave. And in the previous video, we were looking at the possibility of forming a bottom within this wave 4 in white in the area, towards the 61.8% retracement, and I did provide you some ideas of how this could have extended further down. We were looking for an ABC pattern to unfold, which wasn't necessarily the case. We didn't manage to create a 5-wave structure within the wave C, so we actually even broke above all the resistance levels that we had here internally, so we can pretty much discard this idea of continuing to the downside directly within this structure. And instead, what I could still see going on, well, it could still be an ABC within a WXY correction. That could still be the case, but I would also likely consider that this was a singular wave A or wave W, doesn't matter exactly. We are now, or we may have even topped here within a wave B, and we could still be looking for additional lows in the wave C. So technically it is possible that we have bottomed, but so far I only have a 3-wave structure to the upside, nothing reliable that would suggest to us that, okay, with high likelihood we are going to push higher directly into this 5th wave to the upside, as for example if we had a 5-wave structure up. That would have been a good indication that we may have already bottomed from this point, and we could be looking for a correction in a wave B and then a follow-up in a wave C, also in a 5-wave structure. Now, since that isn't the case and we pushed right into the 50% retracement, we need to be aware of a couple of things actually. So this B wave could have already topped. We have the 3-wave structure to the upside, we hit the 50% retracement, and we could be in or on our way in a wave C or a wave W, or sorry, a wave Y in the case of a WXY pattern, and we could still be watching out for the 61.8% retracement here in the white scenario. Additionally, if we were to look for such a target already, it would be kind of a short wave, but it also was kind of a short retracement and pretty quick as well, so not too big of an issue. But additionally, there is no confirmation that we have topped here within the wave B, and we could still see extensions. I will be honest, this is a very difficult area to trade. We cannot really trust the counts too much. All we really can do is look at the levels and trade the levels, and this is generally what we should do anyway. But what we could also see is still an extension here within the wave B, where this could still be something like WXY, even an ABC works, because I could count this as an ABC in a running flat, no problem. But in that case, I might also be able to consider that to the upside, since we are looking for an ABC structure, this could be an initial wave A, and we may be looking for an initial ABC structure. So this would be an ABC, this would turn into a larger wave A, this could be followed by wave B, and then a wave C to the upside to complete this larger structure in the wave 5. So with that in mind, we can track support even for a direct breakout, since, as I mentioned, it is still possible that we break out directly, and in that case, I would be watching out for support here. And let's see, in the area between the $20.5 level all the way down to the 78.6% retracement at the $18.7 level. Now, what we have is a little bit of a structural support in this area between the 50% retracement and the 61.8% retracement, which may provide us a relief rally, but honestly, there is really no telling in terms of this time frame and this structure what will really happen. So we need to be aware that we need to be trading the levels, and we need to really be watching out for even a possible larger breakdown into the larger count here in green, because if we zoom out, we actually see that we have a possible top here within the wave 3. We don't need to follow the white interpretation, even though that is preferred. There is basically no confirmation that we have bottomed within the white scenario and that it will hold, or that we will find support at the 61.8% retracement. It is just something I find preferred, honestly. I find it a slightly higher probability that we will find support here in wave 4 in white and form an additional 5th wave to the upside, rather than breaking down completely into the larger wave 4 in green. But keep in mind that the time frame, it is not the largest one. if we were to look for the highest probability setup, which with a very good likelihood it would work out, I would be still watching the green support zone than the green scenario. And for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.